Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video with On Point Politics. And today we're going to be looking at more 2024 stuff. Again, guys, we just hit 25,000 subscribers today. So thank you to everybody who subscribed so far. I see that a lot of people are tuning into the stream today at such a late time. I probably might start streaming later now because about 117 of you guys are already here at the very start of the stream. So I actually greatly appreciate that. Guys, if you are in here, make sure to hit the like button. If you haven't hit the like button already, make sure to go ahead and hit it already. I would greatly appreciate any of that support as of right now. But we are currently going to be looking at something very interesting with the Electoral College, right? And so, of course, the race seemingly has tightened up quite a bit. To an extent, the race has really tightened up a lot. We see that right now, Trump is ahead by 1.8% in the national aggregate. And what we see here is that the race has gotten closer in polling data, but the sample size error when it comes to Democrats outsampling Republicans in polling data has been a pretty prevalent issue quite a bit. I think it is a pretty prevalent problem in the polling data, and it may actually even increase the polling error, believe it or not. That actually might even increase how big of a polling error there is. Now, is the race getting slightly closer? I would say possibly. My model has Donald Trump winning by 6 points on the national level, or not. Let's actually check it out. It's like 4.9%. And essentially, right now, Donald Trump, Texas, Florida are under 13-point victories. Maine second is still safe, as well as California, Hawaii, DC, Maryland, Massachusetts, and Vermont. But the rest of these states are still in the likely blue column. We have the state of Alaska being about a likely margin now, which is very interesting. I mean, that state's been trending to the left for quite a while now and has been trending to the left for some time. And so that's what's really pushing that state in that direction. We also have Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada in this column here. By the way, guys, make sure to hit the like button. I see a lot of you guys are in here, so make sure to go ahead and hit the like button. All of that support, I would greatly appreciate that as of right now. And also a likely New York is on the way, possibly an 11 or 12-point victory for Harris. And we also see states like, for example, Nebraska second are going to be in the lean Democrat column. Virginia seems to be going Harris's way. That state is trending to the left from where it was in 2020. And so it's going to be hard for Democrats to pick that off. But essentially, the four toss-up races are New Mexico, Minnesota, Maine, and New Hampshire. That's really what we're getting at right now in terms of the, kind of crossover vote here. This is really where the race is pretty much headed as of right now. At least these four states are the true toss-ups of the election as of right now. That really could go either way. Trump could either get a 330 victory or so, 334 electoral votes, or Harris can win all of them and actually end up getting in the 220s or so and win 313 electoral votes. Punch a bunch bear for two says Polymarket has Trump 260, 278 Trump. Wait, what? So he's down in the electoral college in the betting odds now? Let's actually go ahead and look at that. Wisconsin, he's up. Oh wow. Oh wow. So he's actually, oh wow. So now Pennsylvania finally caught up for Harris. So Harris is almost leading the betting odds in the Electoral College, which I think is kind of interesting because I don't necessarily think that it's accurate. A lot of people are stuck on the conventional wisdom of the previous election, and so I think a lot of people may be misinterpreting what's going on right now for the most part, but that's kind of what we're looking at. I hear a lot of people say that Buttigieg is supposed to be the VP or something like that. Let's check the Twitter timeline. Let's see where everybody's kind of at right now, because I am kind of curious to see. We are literally just about 100 days away, which is pretty insane. That is crazy that we are at 100 days away from the election. I actually already set up, guys. Oh, also, I was looking at Let's Talk Elections, election map where he has Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nevada all going to Harris. I think that's kind of laughable, to be honest. I think that she has a better chance of winning Arizona than Nevada, Wisconsin, or Pennsylvania for that matter. But if we go to the state, you know, just in general, what I want to look at here is this, right? I went to the wrong page. What we are looking at is here. I actually already have the mega stream already put up. We already have the one for November 5th. So on election day, this is the stream that everybody would essentially be going to. I'm going to be streaming from 4 p.m. all the way to 4 a.m. And this is where I would basically be in terms of that. On point, what do you think about Roy Cooper as her VP? I think that would be a generic pick, and I think that would be kind of interesting, I guess. But I don't think it would narrow up the race that much. I don't think he would affect the margins like that. And we see this is scheduled for November 5th. So, guys, make sure that you all know that on November 5th at 4 p.m. is when that's going to happen. So live in 99 days. I'm having it set up already so people already know that it exists. But that's basically where I have that. Guys, if you are in here, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel already. Make sure to go ahead and hit the like button as well, because I am really, really trying to get the algorithm out there. When it comes to the content of the show, at a certain point, I am gonna have to transition to an actual kind of like news type of thing. And so, in order for me to do that, I'm really going to need your guys' support in terms of that. So that's definitely be something that I'm really going to have to rely on you guys for, is really that, support when it comes to transitioning the show later on, possibly something similar to what Patrick Bet-David does, where he kind of gives the analysis of the electorate and whatnot. Would you be concerned if Shapiro would be the VP? That might be scary. Not necessarily. He's very pro-Israel and may even piss off some of that Democrat voter base. Minnesota is going to Trump as well. Well, in my election model, that's actually where it's going. In my election model, Donald Trump wins Minnesota by exactly half a point. So that's like roughly where that is heading as of right now. But really, to be honest with you, Trump is still winning easily. All these people on Twitter, oh, we're down, we're doomed. Harris is now the favorite to win. The Democrats are going to catch up to us. That's literally doesn't even make any sense, because if you look at this, Trump is up in the popular vote by 2 points, and he usually gets underestimated. He probably ends up winning the popular vote anywhere by 4 to 6 points. Like my poll actually suggested, I have Trump getting about a 6 point victory with third parties. And so that's definitely something where I'm going to be looking at that 100%. Guys, make sure to go ahead, if you are in here and you just joined, we are going over 2024 election stuff. So make sure to go ahead and hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate that. It would help us out with the algorithm. If everybody in here can hit the like button at the same time, that would definitely help the algorithm pick up the show 100%. And so basically, Harris's approval ratings, guys, I feel like the gain here, you see, like ABC News has her favorable by 1 point. That is a little bit ridiculous. And you even see she's like at 43% and is unfavorable like 42. This doesn't even make sense, because a majority of the electorate already knows her. And so for her to be at below a unfavorable of 50 is pretty bizarre to me. And you can even see, based out of most of the polls, that is an outlier. Like, she's been pretty high in a lot of these polling. Now, if we look at, for example, even like Reuters, right here, it had her down 17. Apparently now, with the same pollster, we see that she's up one. There's no way from the beginning of the month to the end of the month that Harris is going to gain 18 points in favorability. That just really doesn't make any sense. Robert, what is the deal with this voice? I'm pretty sure like something's going on. I think like I've been still been coughing. I think I have like corona or something. That's probably what I have, to be honest with you. But I'm trying to like get past it. I'm pretty sure I'll be fine. But clearly something's obviously been off. But I've been getting better. I was a lot worse like a few weeks ago. So I've been getting a lot better ever since then. The worst case scenario for Trump is winning 272. Yeah, that's true. That is his worst case scenario because a lot of people are concerned, oh, if the race ends up getting like, to a certain point, is he even going to be able to win the race? Honestly, he is still the heavy favorite. Henry K, stop drinking Corona beer. That's not what I was referring to. I was referring to coronavirus, but okay. So, when it comes to like the swing states, like let's say the election ends up being really close, where effectively these are like the swing states, right? Let's say this is the case. Trump has multiple paths because based on the trends in each states and the results and the way the demographics are kind of shaking out, he's probably going to win Georgia and North Carolina no matter what. I would say, like, worst case scenario, like, DEF CON, like, worst possible scenario ever, he loses 287. That's like the worst, like, but that even happening has a pretty low probability, to be honest with you. That probably has a very low probability of actually happening. And really, all he has to win is Pennsylvania. That's all he's got to win. And funny enough, that's actually the state with the most voter registrations, believe it or not. That's actually been the state where Republicans have gained in voter registration the most out of any of the swing states. They've closed the gap of like I think it was like 600,000 Democrat vote difference in Pennsylvania down to like 300,000. Charles for 5 says, besides Nevada, what's the most likely state Trump hasn't even won before? I mean, besides Nevada, I would say it's kind of hard because it's between Minnesota and New Mexico. It kind of depends on how the white vote and the Hispanic vote goes, but if he is doing very good with Hispanics, I would probably say New Mexico. But if he's doing really good with white voters, he's probably flipping Minnesota first. In terms of the states that he hasn't won, those would be probably the best ones. But even here, he gets 270 electoral votes, guys. And without Pennsylvania, he could get with Michigan and Nevada. And I'd even argue to an extent that Nevada and Arizona may already be in his column because of the fact that Hispanic voters are still polling vastly better. Even right now, Trump is still polling massively better with Hispanic and white voters. And so that would already be enough to flip all of these states. And Nevada is already trending Republican, and North Carolina's trend has been pretty stagnant, and Trump has won the state twice. So I'd argue that the Sun Belt's basically a lock for Trump at this point. All he has to do is flip one of the Rust Belt states. He could win with Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania. That is the way he would basically win the election pretty much. At this point, I would honestly say that this is basically, he's pretty much a lock to get the major swing states, and the toss up map would more than likely look something like this. This is probably what I would say an actual toss up map would probably look at, where Harris is like at 204, Trump is probably at 312. I have him very comfortably winning most of the swing states. And at that point, he kind of has the opportunity to expand into some of these deeper blue states that if he swings the national popular vote to a 5 point victory, he would have the opportunity of flipping because a 4.5 shift Biden to plus 4.9 Trump, which is what I have, is a 9.4 percentage point shift. And when you really look at some of these states, I mean, a 9.5 shift puts Minnesota in play, puts Nebraska second, Maine, and New Hampshire all in play right now. Maybe he doesn't win Maine at large. Like you could argue that state's trending to the left. But if like Minnesota, and if he shifts the nation 9.5 points to the right, he's gonna win Minnesota and New Hampshire. Like, there's no doubt about that, including Nebraska second. So maybe at that point, it's like, okay, maybe Maine would probably be lean, and New Mexico would possibly be like tilt Democrat, or could honestly go either way. It depends on how the electorate is that day. But this could probably be, if he wins the popular vote by 9.5, this would probably be the most likely outcome. And I saw somebody ask, what happens if it's 269 to 269? If that happens, then to be honest with you, probably what would end up happening is Trump wins through the House of Representatives because of that alone. Now, I see somebody in the chat's freaking out. Oh, what if they cheat this time? What happens with that? Well, I'm going to pull up a statistic for you that actually shows that it's probably going to be way harder for them to cheat than you think. And I'm actually going to pull this up. This is why it may in fact be a lot harder for them to cheat. And they didn't even publish this in their poll, by the way. They didn't even publish this actually, which I think is pretty crazy. But if you actually look at the breakdown for their polls, if you go down to how many people are voting by mail this cycle, it is way less. Look at this. In 2020, about 45% of the electorate voted by mail or absentee ballot. Now it's down to 18%. And that's the number one way that they were able to quote unquote rig the last election. They were able to pull up these these 3 a.m. magic tricks. That's basically what we were looking at in terms of the electorate. And so now we have over 80% of the electorate now voting not voting Republican, but voting in person, either on election day or early voting. And maybe they could tamper with some of the early voting, but even like Mark Zuckerberg is starting to get pretty red pilled. Like, and he is really responsible for Dominion's success in 2020. He donated like $400 million to them, and now he's not making any public donations like that, and has even been spotted hanging out with Dana White, the officer Tatum. Like, it's pretty crazy. Like, he's also gotten pretty red pilled, and he is a big factor in the Democrats doing so well last time around. And so I honestly really doubt that that's going to end up being an issue. I really doubt that that's going to end up being an issue. And so at this point, less than half the electorate, or less than a fifth of the electorate in the world's most accurate pollster for not just the US elections, but for multiple international elections, they've been the most accurate. And so now we are sitting at a point where about 18% of the electorate is voting by mail. That's going to be a lot harder to influence the election of than an electorate that's voting 45%, even 50% by mail. That is a humongous difference. And so, in my opinion, I think it's going to be a lot harder for them to pull any of these shenanigans that they would have done so before. And either way, if they really would have been able to do what they did last time, would they have really tried to kill Trump or to try to lock him up in jail? Like, have they really tried these things? I really don't think so, to be honest with you. I don't think that actually would have been the case. I think that if they really could have done a lot of the stuff they did last time, I don't think they would have tried as many things as they have previously tried before. And let me actually pull the chat about this. Let me see how bad do you, let me ask the chat this, because this is something interesting. Do you approve or disapprove of JD Vance? Because Twitter has been going crazy with this guy. They've been making up a lot of stuff about him. They're saying that, oh, he did something to a couch and a dolphin, and that he's a Nazi and all this kind of stuff. And I want to actually see what chat thinks about him, because unfortunately, Twitter isn't real life in general for the people on Twitter. Red Lion and Rufus think they're like the most smartest people in the world when it comes to this stuff. And we see here about 100 votes have come into chat. And a lot of you guys are not necessarily on Twitter, like terminally online. Like, I would say a lot of you guys are not terminally online. And it seems to me that a lot of you guys, at least 75% of you guys right now, approve of JD Vance. And about 17% of you are basically unsure about him, which is probably a lot of people who really don't know too much about him, which I think is really, really interesting. And I think to me it's pretty annoying that people on the right are falling for a lot of these facetious attacks against Vance. Like, I think it's super dumb that a lot of these people are falling for a lot of these tricks that the left is pulling, because they try to get this, inner circle of, thinking, and then they become successful when we conservative people kind of fold at the seams about this kind of stuff, even though objectively a lot of this stuff is just not true. And so it's pretty crazy. Like, I mean, for crying out loud, Harris is literally going around campaigning saying, oh, that she's a brat. Like, what does that even mean? Like, people really got to grow up with some of this stuff, because at this point, it's getting pretty ridiculous, to be honest with you. And so now, at this point in time, I think Trump is still a heavy favorite to win regardless. I think he's the absolute heavy favorite to win. I don't see a scenario right now where Trump is necessarily even that close to really even losing the election. If something happens down the line, the polling kind of times up, then possibly something could come about. But I honestly really, really doubt that it's gonna be to the point as of right now that he would lose the election, because Trump still has a higher favorability than Harris, pretty close to what the aggregates are showing nationally, and Trump is polling at 47.9%. I mean, that's pretty good, because in both of his elections, he didn't even get that. By the way, he didn't even get that nationally. In 2020, he got 46.9%. He's polling higher than what he's gotten in the last elections. And when you look at like Biden last time around, Trump was polling at what at this point? What right now it's July 28th. We can go to July 28th. Biden was polling ahead at 9 points. Trump was at 41.5% of the electorate. Trump is polling literally like 6 points higher than before. I really honestly wouldn't say that Trump is not the favorite. I think Trump is the heavy favorite to win. Now, is he favored to win Virginia? Probably not. Is he the heavy favorite to win Minnesota, New Hampshire, and New Mexico? Probably not. But is he the heavy favorite to win Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada? 100% he is. He's 100% the favorite to win all of those states right now. That, without a doubt, I think he's the favorite to win all of those states. And so at that point, it's only a matter of where, Trump just really gotta, if he wins all the swing states very easily, he needs to focus on flipping a Minnesota or New Hampshire to kind of make a statement, because I think that would necessarily be very important at that point in time. But right now, he's got to focus on winning the swing states, which I think he's got in the bag. I actually do. I think he really, right now, is the favorite to win the Rust Belt. I think he's basically a lock to win Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. If Trump can at least get over 300, it'll pretty much be okay. Now, if, for example, he ties, I would still be pretty concerned, especially the fact that Harris is presiding over certifying her own election, and I think that was a strategic move by the Democrats. So just because he wins on election day or wins the electoral college, we still need to really be careful. Like, the only way we'll be certain he actually made it is if he gets inaugurated on January 25th of 2025. That is the only way we're going to be 100% certain that he made it across the finish line. As at least right now, the most important thing for him to focus on is the electoral college. And that's why him winning a really big election victory is so important, because if he's able to get 347, it's going to be pretty difficult for him to kind of just go around everything and be like, oh, well, actually, it's going to be hard for them to go around everything and be like, oh, by the way, Trump didn't actually win, so we're going to forfeit all the electoral votes. Like, it would be kind of difficult for them to do that if he gets such a large electoral college victory. So I think it's important for him to do so. But do I think it's likely for him to get 347 now? Probably not. He probably loses Virginia. New Hampshire and Maine at large probably don't go to him. Minnesota and New Mexico, I would say possibly end up going in his column. Those are the two deep blue states I would say more than likely flip to him at this point. Maybe not even New Mexico. Maybe it's just Minnesota, but something around this range, like anywhere from basically 313 to 334 is basically where I have the range of possibilities as of right now. I don't think right now Harris has a legitimate chance to win the election just because of the fact of her weakness in the Rust Belt and the fact that Trump's favorables are very high. Somebody in the chat is asking me what is the most likely way for her to actually win. And I'll go over that now. Google Mail for two, thank you, says, who will Harris pick as VP? Will it change anything? I don't think the VP pick is going to change anything. The same way that Vance is not going to help Trump in Ohio by 5. Shapiro is not going to help Harris by 5 in Pennsylvania. I think anybody who joins Harris's ticket is only really going to hurt themselves, to be honest with you. And I think that's why you've seen a lot of high profile Democrats be so hesitant to joining her ticket, because at this point, it's just been such a big problem for her as of right now. It's been such a big problem that at this point, it really, really just hasn't made the difference. Let me keep reading chat here. What do you think of Trump's crowd size in Minnesota? Again, guys, crowd sizes don't matter as much as you think. 10,000 people is a lot of people, but in the grand scheme of how many people vote, that's a way bigger crowd size. Now, if Trump was getting like 100,000 people a rally, then I would be like, okay, yeah, he's gonna win the election, because that would be a huge difference. But even if he's getting like 10,000 or 20,000 and Harris is getting like 500, I wouldn't even say that's indicative of the chances of winning. Like, he'd have to be getting like 200,000 people, 300,000 people a rally for me to say, okay, yeah, like he's definitely like, you don't even have to worry about the election. And even like Mondale in 1984 used to get bigger crowds than most of the Democrat nominees now. And he lost every single state except Minnesota. Like, if you really look at that election, at the end of the day, Mondale still won 41% of the vote. Like, he still got 37 million people to vote for him. In the grand scheme of things, yes, a 20-point win is huge, but that's still a lot of people if you think about it. 37 million people is a lot. You could stick 10,000 of those people in a rally and be like, damn, like he probably could have a chance at winning. But at the end of the day, I really don't think that that's going to end up being the case. I don't think that crowd sizes tend to determine elections like that, unless it's like a super duper lopsided thing. Like, I would not really put a lot of stock into crowd sizes or even like watching people's signs, really. Like, I wouldn't really put that much stock into that, to be honest with you guys. What is the like, you know what? I'm actually gonna pull chat this because I noticed there's like way more people in here. There's like 400 and something people today in chat. I'm gonna pull people this. What is the best time? What is the best time for me to stream? Early, before 5 p.m. Um, midday, 5 to 8 p.m. And then I'll put like 8 to 9 p.m. or after 9 p.m. That's what I'm going to put, because honestly, I've seen that there's way more people here today, and we already hit like 3,000 views on the stream. So I'm going to actually see what chat says, because this is kind of interesting. There's a lot of people in here today. There's a lot of people in here today. And this is one of the later times I've started streaming. I usually don't start streaming at 9:30. So let me see what chat says. I'm gonna wait until most of chat votes, but clearly, yeah, it seems like, yeah, literally a majority of the chat says like basically after 8 p.m. pretty much. So that's probably why. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. 8 to 9 p.m. is like half the chat. 18% is after 9 p.m. Midday 5 to 8 p.m. 27%, and then early 11 11% before 5 p.m. Yeah, that's not enough for me to do that. But clearly, yeah, if we add that up, 40 to 30, yeah, 73% of the chat is saying that they would rather me start after 8 p.m. basically. Or maybe not that much, but it's pretty high. Yeah, 66 right now says so. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, time zones would probably change the answer too. Maybe I would actually go ahead and I could have probably done that more properly. Um, because you know what? Actually, let me do that again. Let me see. What is the best time to stream? Let me see. After 8 p.m. Eastern or before 8 p.m. Eastern. That's what I'm gonna say because that might change the answer. So let me go ahead and do that. Because I've noticed there's a lot more people in here. Yeah, okay, yeah. So clearly the okay, yeah, clearly the chat's overwhelmingly in favor of after 8 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so that's probably what I'm gonna start doing then, because clearly everybody is there's a lot of people here. I don't know if it's the fact that 25 that I just hit 25K and that it says it's 25K or what, but clearly something is going on. And we've also gotten a lot of new people in here too, because we are at 2000 25,080 subscribers, and I started the stream with less than that. So clearly a lot of people are tuning into this. People are clearly tuning in, which is good. That is great. And I want to try to transition the show as best as I can until after the fact that I want to try to start transitioning the show until like basically once we get to like September, I want to try to start transitioning the show to where it's more of a political news thing and we still cover the electoral politics side of things. But I want to try to transition the show until so that after the election cycle ends, I can continue it. Vince Dow, I actually spoke to him once on Twitter. I mean, he seems like a nice guy. I know he's like a friend of Ready Go Politics. So, and Ready Go Politics is a friend of the channel overall. I mean, he's been pretty great. He's kind of helped me. And we've talked on the phone and stuff like that. So, I'm pretty, I'm pretty grateful for that, of course. And he's definitely helped me kickstart the channel for sure. So, I'm pretty grateful for that. Um, you know, overall, I am very grateful for that. Um, something is definitely going on because we something's going on in here. Let me actually, you know what? I'm gonna pull the chat this too. This is the last one I'm gonna do. Are you new to the channel? Yes, no. I want to see something because we are gaining subscribers very quickly. Like really fast. Like we're already at 25.1K. I want to see how much of the chat is new because something, yeah. Okay, yeah. So a lot of people are new. Guys, if you are in here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you guys are brand new, make sure to subscribe because I would 100% give the most best accurate election analysis to the my best of the ability. I will break down all the polling numbers for you in ways that most of the mainstream media won't do it. A lot of these people will look at it face value and tell you, this number says this, so this means that this is going to be true. That's not how these things work. There's a lot more nuance into how these things go, and there's a many different factors that sway these things. So whoever is new, if you guys could subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that because I don't want you guys to be swayed away from other people, working on certain things. Yeah, we are going up really fast. I don't know if it's this stream or another video's blowing up, but something's definitely going on right now. But because of that, I am going to actually continue. I am going to continue this stream then for quite a bit because I was going to get off in a little bit, but I'm going to continue streaming as of right now to kind of keep you guys hooked on this stuff. And so, as of right now, again, Trump is definitely the favorite at this point to win the election. Now, can Harris gain? I mean, it's definitely possible Harris could gain. And actually starting making this more competitive, but she would have to start doing very well in the electoral college to even like she would have to do very good in the popular vote polling. Like she'd probably have to be ahead by like 9 or 8 points to even like barely win the election, because based on the way that the Rust Belt is trending, even if Democrats were to win the popular vote by 5, the Rust Belt would probably still be competitive. It would probably still be a neck to neck battle. That's the problem. Like really, if this election was D+5, if the national popular vote was like Democrat +5, more than likely at this point in time, Maine at large would be likely. New Hampshire would kind of be in that column. Minnesota would be in the likely column. So would New Mexico, but it would be a lot closer. It would not be like a 10-point win. It would probably be like an 8 or 7 point victory for the Democrat. Texas, Florida would be likely. Alaska probably still in the likely column. Maybe South Carolina is likely. Maybe Kansas, but that's about it. Iowa and Ohio would be in the likely column if the popular vote was Democrat +5. And we also have this as well. Now, if the Democrat is winning the popular vote by 5, I'd expect them to win Nebraska second. Maybe not by over 5 points because they redistricted this district, redrew the district to be more conservative. So I honestly doubt that that would be the case. But a state like North Carolina, I still think would go Republican. I'd even argue that Georgia, I mean, if it's D+5 and the state is voting like 2 points to the right of the nation, I don't know. That would be a little bit confusing. That one could honestly go either way. That one would be really iffy for me, but maybe I would say would go Republican just based off the fact that Republicans may continue to improve in the suburban area or in the urban areas. The Arizona, I think, would be long gone, basically. Arizona would be a lost cause. I think if Democrats are winning the popular vote by 5, those suburban, that suburb would basically be gone at that point. I honestly really doubt that that would even be the case. Um, and so Nevada, I would even say goes Republican because if you look at the state as of right now, Lenny Davis for 10. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We also have here Ben Sinix for 5. How will the recent Middle Eastern events and potential war with Hezbollah affect the race? I think that again, Trump shows a type of strength that most world leaders don't. I think he signifies a certain strength with voters that he can get a lot of these national conflicts under control. I think he kind of resembles that strength pretty well, unlike a lot of other leaders. And so I think it's only going to benefit him in the long run, if you want me to be completely honest with you. John Stone for 5. Trump needs to remix the 2016 election when he brought Clinton accusers to the debate, needs to bring parents of children killed by illegals to Kamala debate. I mean, I think that would be smart. The thing is, they didn't really let a lot of people come into the debates with Trump and Biden. But I think if they have like a traditional debate, which they should now, there's no excuse for them to do whatever they did with Biden. They should have a regular debate with an actual audience now. And if they do that, I think Trump should bring those people because I think it would be a big national message. Like, hey, like we really need to get the border under control because people are being affected on a personal level because of this. Like, it is personally affecting people's lives where their children are passing away because of this. Now, in terms of Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, it's a little iffy. I would say Pennsylvania probably goes Republican, including Wisconsin. Michigan is the iffy one. I don't know if Michigan would go red in that scenario, but even if Democrats won the popular vote by 5, I would even say that Republicans maybe would even have a fighting chance at the Electoral College. And that's the scary part for for Democrats. If they start having more of these corporatist people that only appeal to suburban voters, they'll gain more in Colorado. They'll gain more in like a place like Minnesota or Virginia or New Hampshire and Maine, but they're gonna lose ground in the regular swing states, to the point if they win the popular vote by like 3 points even, the Rust Belt probably goes all lean Republican, and then they would effectively they wouldn't even have a chance at winning the election because of that. Even Arizona at that point would probably even be going tilt Republican. And so it's kind of like it's really, 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 to be honest with you guys, they are really struggling. And I think that if Democrats don't get their act together and start nominating white working class or candidates that appeal to white working class voters, it's definitely going to end up being a problem for them in the long term. It's just a fact. I mean, they're losing ground with rural voters by the day, and that is not helping them electorally whatsoever in terms of the electoral college support. Now, guys, I know a lot of you are in here right now. If you guys are interested, I actually am going to go to this really quick because I want to make this very clear to everybody as of right now. There is a GoFundMe that it is in the link in the description down below, where we have people donate to me and SoCal Research to conduct national and state polls. I have SoCal conduct polls for the channel. He's responsible for conducting these in a nonpartisan way. They are done with proper methodology. They are weighed properly, and we try to be unbiased forecasters and pollsters. And so he needs help raising money to be able to conduct these polls. And so in the link in the description, it should be in the link in the description down below. You guys can go to the GoFundMe, and if anybody's interested, you can donate as of right now. So I would greatly appreciate any support you could give to that as of right now. But now we're going to go back to the map. And so again, guys, at this point, it is a very, very dire situation for the Democrats, because with the white working class support that they are losing over time, it's only going to affect them in places like Georgia, like North Carolina, but more so even in the Rust Belt. And if Republicans are going to be winning Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, I mean, they're already at 263. They really only need Nevada. I mean, if they win with Nevada, they tie in the Electoral College. And that Nebraska's second. If they keep nominating Democrats who don't appeal to white working class voters, and there's some of them in Nebraska second, they can win the Electoral College without Arizona, without Georgia, without North Carolina. And either way, they would probably be winning North Carolina, because that state's kind of trending a little bit to the right as well. It's been a little stagnant, but it's been to the right for the most part. So as long as Republicans can win in the Rust Belt and appeal to those white working class voters, you may see the Rust Belt become the red wall. That may be something that could happen. And Democrats may try to appeal to suburban voters, trying to flip people in Texas, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, but it's like their efforts may be futile at a point. Like it may just not end up working out for the Democrats. And so I think it's important for Republicans to really go ahead and really narrow in on that white working class support as of right now. Somebody's asking, will the winner be announced on election day? Honestly, I don't know if the winner is going to be announced on election day. I really can't tell you if that would be the case. I mean, I would love for that to be the case. It would be great if we could have the winner announced on that day, but to be honest with you, I really don't think that that's actually gonna I don't think that's gonna end up being the case, to be honest. I really doubt it's gonna be. Now, is it gonna be on the fifth day? Probably not. I would say it's probably a little bit sooner than that, but I would personally say that more than likely it wouldn't even be that bad, to be honest with you. I think it's probably going to be announced maybe the day after, the earliest, maybe like the day like the day of, like the night of, maybe like 2 a.m. ish or so, but that's about it. Easy money for 10. Thank you very much. I'm concerned about losing Pennsylvania again. What is the difference in 2024 versus 2020 to persuade voters to vote for Trump? Well, again, like Republicans have narrowed the voting registration gap in half. And believe it or not, they've actually gained in every single county in Pennsylvania. So if we were to go to like Election Shuffler, now, are all of these 300 new registries going to vote for Trump? I mean, it could possibly happen, to be honest with you. I mean, if that shift were to happen where it's that much of a difference, Trump ends up winning the state by like 3.8%, and that's only factoring in those new registries. Even if like half of them were to vote for Trump, we could even say, let's say even a quarter of them vote for Trump, which would be what? Like, if a quarter of that many people ended up voting for Trump, let's say it's like, let's say he gets only 75,000 voters to switch to him. Let's say that's the case, right? So we could go ahead and kind of let's restart this, and let's say, for example, that he shifts everybody just 70,000 votes. That's it. It's just that much, right? Even if that was the case, if that many people were to shift, which I'm trying to get to happen, but it's not working, um, he would basically be tied in the state effectively. He would be tied. So it's even at that point, just with those people, that doesn't even include, Democrats that may cross over, independent voters that may flip over to him. Like, that doesn't even include any of those people. And so even if he were to get a quarter of those new registees, he would basically be tied in the state. Guys, if you are in here, you have not subscribed yet, make sure to go ahead and hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. Charzy for 5. If continue to gain with Hispanics, we'll keep Arizona, Georgia, and Texas in the future. Well, not necessarily Georgia, because there's more of an African American population there. There are some Hispanics in the Atlanta metro area, but that's mostly present in like Arizona, in Texas. I mean, yeah, no, if they keep gaining with Hispanics, then yeah, they are probably going to end up going. Tehe Woods, I live in Pennsylvania. I only see Trump posters. I mean, that could be the case. I sure hope so. I just so hope he doesn't end up losing Georgia now. I really don't think he's going to lose Georgia against Kamala. Now, maybe she has a point of strength there, possibly, but I really doubt that she's going to end up gaining that much because of it. I honestly really doubt that that's going to be the case. I don't think that's going to be a likely possibility. Now, guys, look, guys, I'm going to put this in the chat now. Do you guys have notifications on? I'm going to ask chat this. Yes, no. I want to ask chat this because I really want to know what everybody has, because I've kind of messed up on this as a YouTuber myself. I really haven't been telling everybody to put post notifications on, but guys, turn on the notifications. Click the bell, click it, and put all notifications on, because I post every single day updating on the Electoral College map. And if you guys don't have that, you guys are not gonna see them. So whoever does not have notifications on, click the bell. Like, literally, look, like, I could go on another channel, right? Like, let's go on Election Scope, who actually had a very good video for themselves. Wow, that's awesome. They finally got a good video. They've been like posting videos forever. Okay, now they're actually starting to do good. That's great. I'm happy for them. I know that they started doing videos a while back and they weren't doing the best, but I guess now he started picking up some steam. That's really, really great. I'm glad. Now, for example, if we look at him, right, you see how I have this and I click all, like, I don't click this, they don't send this, and I don't click this either. Click the top option when you subscribe so you can get all of the post notifications for the channel, just so you don't miss any of the videos that I have. That's all I ask. And so now we see here, let me see. I saw a post about I'm 18 years old and half black and I'm not even voting for her. She's a joke. Wow, that's crazy. That's insane. That's crazy. I mean, yeah, no, I didn't suspect that a lot of, people were going to be voting for Kamala just because of the fact that she's quote unquote black, which, to be honest, she's not even as black as Obama. And so that's pretty crazy. Now, you see, this is funny because everybody's kind of running around with this. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't know when this was, but like, either way, it's like at the end of the day, he probably was either A. It seems like these people are dressed up in Halloween costumes. You can even see this person here has like white stuff on their face here. Like, it's probably a Halloween costume. Chief Constituent for 5 says, first super chat, love your work. On election day, what signs should we look for to see if the election night will go well? I think the first signs that you would want to look for is to look at those red counties in Kentucky. Like, if Trump, you see how he's winning these by like a varied amount, like anywhere from 20 to 50 points. if the range is like 40 to 80 in some of these counties, like if he's winning these counties by like 30 to 80 points, like if you see a 10-point difference in the counties, that's how you know he's going to be doing a lot better on election day. If you don't see that, then be pretty cautious. But if you do see that the counties shift like 10 points from where they were, then you're 100% gonna see a shift to the right. Because if he's doing that good in like northern Kentucky in some of these rural areas, that means he's gonna do good in some of the rural counties in Indiana. He will probably do good in the southern part of Ohio, and that means those kind of demographics carry over to the Rust Belt. So if he's doing really good, like getting dictator margins in these Kentucky counties, then 100% he's going to be doing better on election day. And you could even look at Florida. Like if he's doing really good in Miami-Dade, that's going to be a good sign. Like if he's winning Miami-Dade by 10, 15 points, that'll be a really good sign for him in terms of actually winning the election. Because if he's winning Miami-Dade by 10 to 15 points, probably even more than that, depending on how the electorate kind of sways out, if he wins by 10 to 15 there, then he is 100% the favorite to win the general election, if that's the case. That's all I'm saying in terms of that. You know, guys, we are about to hit 25.2 already, which is crazy. And we just hit 25,000 today. I think we started out today at like 25.8K. So I greatly appreciate all the growth as of right now. I'm definitely going to try to put something together today where maybe my next election prediction video is a little bit more fancier. I may put more effort into the graphics and see how that goes. So I may attempt that today. You're showing him down in Miami-Dade though. Yeah, but this is the 2020 results. So I'm just pointing to see for people to see what county it is. Not everybody probably knows. I mean, most of you maybe know what Miami-Dade is, but I was assuming that at least some of the people didn't know what Miami-Dade was. And so that's why I'm going to the county map because I wanted them to see what it looked like. So yeah, that's basically where I'm looking at in terms of some of those signs. Miami-Dade would be a good strong point. I would even honestly look at Broward because if he gets Broward within 15, that's going to be a good sign for the African American vote. Even if he does really good in Orange County, which is where I'm at actually right now. I'm actually like either in Osceola or in Orange. I'm not actually exactly sure where I'm at. It's like in between here somewhere. Like I'm in right where my mouse pointer is. That's basically where I'm at. And so if he's like doing way better here and getting Osceola County within 5, then he's definitely got a good shot at winning. And if he's winning Pinellas by like 10, that would be a good sign that he's doing good. And the reason why I'm like saying that there could be crazy margins like that because if you look at 2022, I mean, he won a lot of these counties by that amount. We can actually look up the 2022 governor midterms. Like, I'm not even talking unrealistic results. 2022 Florida governor results. Like, it's really not that crazy. Like, if we were to go over here and look at the live map for this, I mean, he had Broward within 15, almost within 15, actually. I think he did have it within 15. He won Palm Beach by like 3. He won Miami-Dade by like literally 11.3%. He almost, sorry guys, he won Orange or lost it by like 8. He even won Seminole by 12 and won Osceola by like 6.7 points. Won Pinellas by like 10. So I'm not even saying unrealistic stuff. He actually even won Duval by more than he even did Pinellas, which is pretty crazy to me. That's like pretty insane that that even happened. And even like Swain County, he even did pretty good there too. The Leon County, he almost got it within 15. And so yes, they are midterms, but I'm talking about results that have actually already happened in the state of Florida. And with Florida, I mean 90%, just to give you guys an idea, Democrats in 2020 on election day led in voter registration by like 88,000 votes. Republicans are now ahead by 900,000 votes. So if you were to add about 900,000 votes to that. So basically, he would be ahead by 1.2 million. Trump is already up in the state by 11, and that's not even factoring in independents. That's not even factoring in Democrats that could cross over to vote for Trump. Just with Republican voter registration alone, he already would probably be ahead by 11 points. And so that's not even factoring in independents or even factoring in Democrats that could possibly cross over. So, to be honest, he's the heavy favorite to win Florida. I would not even be worried about Florida, to be honest with you. I don't even know why Harris's team is telling her to go campaign there. I think that's a really dumb idea for them to do. But all right, guys, pretty much that is basically it for this video. I am going to go ahead and see what I can do to really step up the content as of right now. Possibly put some background music. Maybe I'll even work on an intro today. Who knows? I'll possibly see. I might even work on an intro for myself as of right now. But if you guys did enjoy this, make sure to go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to go ahead and follow the Twitter. Guys, please follow the Twitter because we just passed 500 followers on Twitter. So if you guys could go ahead in the link in the description, follow the Twitter, I would greatly appreciate that. Make sure to go ahead and join the Discord server in the description down below. If you haven't already, we have a vibrant community. We all talk to each other in there and stuff. And so that's pretty much it, guys. I will see you in the next video. Everyone have a great night and take care.